It's really important for us to look for expected practices in our schools. It's important for us to walk each day, and then after many walks have conversations with teachers about what you're wondering about, what you authentically want to know more about, as we become even more precise instructional leaders. So for me, instructional walks are not looking for problems of practice. They're really about our growth, improving our practice as an instructional leader, being able to precisely define what we observe and how that gives us data on how the professional learning that we're conducting as a learning team of leaders is going in the school. So if I'm noticing, for example, that we've worked so hard in our professional learning sessions on model, shared, guided, and independent teaching, those approaches to reading and writing and actually all subjects, that progression of gradual release. And I walk in the school to then look for those expected practices and don't see them. That's important feedback for me as a leader, that I need to look at my strategies for professional learning. I need to be having conversations with teachers about what kind of support they need, maybe other resources that they need to actually use the high yield expected practices of gradual release. So walking daily in classrooms is very important, and just to enhance our own learning, as I said, but also to see those expected practices. And there's a design protocol around our instructional walks and talks, which is very important. They're 5 minutes in a classroom, no notes, we don't interrupt teachers. We look around the room to take in whether student work is obvious, whether students have scaffolds in terms of anchor charts to help them with their learning. And then we stop to ask questions of students, 5 questions, if it's appropriate, if teachers are not teaching. But it's really important to know that we don't interrupt the classroom teacher in the teaching, but kneel quietly down beside a student if there's time for that and there's not direct teaching taking place. So the 5 questions are key. From those 5 questions, we won't need to interrupt teachers because we'll know what they've been teaching. So for example, the 5 questions are, what are you learning? How are you doing? How do you know? How can you improve? And where you go for help. If students can answer those specifically and directly, then we know that teachers have deconstructed the learning intention. They've co-constructed the success criteria. They've given the student descriptive feedback. They've taught the students how to peer and self-assess. And they've spent time in student conferences developing individual goals for students. So learning walks, instructional walks and talks, as we say in Parramatta Diocese, are key to really observing the high yield assessment and instructional practices in every school.